So how you doing? Hey, today is basically the day after Sawfest, and I'm actually out here unloading all the saws, getting them put away and everything. And I've been thinking about this, and I learned a lot when I was at Sawfest. I kind of learned, what works, what doesn't, all that stuff. It was really a great eye-opener. And I would encourage anybody who didn't get to attend to try to make it next year. We already know it's going to happen in October of next year. So, why not start planning now, So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and just start making my plans now and start working towards, getting to Sawfest for next year. I'm going to start picking my saws now and all that stuff and, working on the builds and just kind of working towards that end goal. We don't need to wait until the last minute to put things together. You know what I mean? So what do you say? I got an idea of what I want to change in the lineup here and some changes I want to make. And I think you guys are going to really like these ideas, because now that I have a better understanding, we're going to be able to do better next year, I think. So let me show you what's rolling through my head and you tell me what you think. Alrighty? Now I wanted to add something here. I've been thinking about something, and good racing teams in NASCAR or anything like that, anytime you think about it, you got a racing team, right? So how would you guys feel about coming up with our own little Smitty's Chainsaw Racing team? A group of us that kind of work together to help make the saws better and perform better, and maybe kind of have a team about it. But I think you kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about here. Maybe create somewhat of a team that we work together, and the Smitty's Chainsaw Racing team. So what do you guys think? A little group of us that kind of work together to put these saws into good performance levels. Now today is the day after Sawfest, and I have got so much footage already set up, stacked up and everything, waiting to come out, that this is going to be so far out of the timeline for you guys that you just have to bear with me. I got a whole bunch of stuff coming that I recorded before Sawfest that hasn't been put out yet. I got all the footage from Sawfest that I got to put out yet. So you guys are going to be a little behind on the actual timeline for now. But I thought I'd get this video dropped in here today because we were at Sawfest, and we learned a few things, and I wanted to share it with you and get your input. As you can see, I am in the process of putting stuff away here. You can see I brought some of my cookies home. I thought they'd be cool. I could hang them up on the wall for decoration or whatever. I decided to keep some of the cookies, But this is the lineup I'm thinking about for next year. So let me kind of go over this and explain what I'm talking about. The 130 did pretty good. She's not turning as many RPM as a lot of the modern ported saws. And I actually am thinking about taking that saw and that saw, or maybe getting another one of those and sandwiching it. I'm thinking about sandwiching these two saws and making one. So what my idea is here is, this is a 58cc XL130. This is a 101. They're 54cc. I'm thinking about pulling the piston and cylinder off of the 101 and moving it to the 130, dropping this saw down to 54cc, then converting it to 325 chain. If I did that, then that saw would be racing against the 50cc saws. You know what I mean? I'd basically be able to drop that saw down a class. Doing that, I should be able to do some work to help turn the RPMs up a little more. You see, I've already done all the bottom end work to this saw. The bearing work, all that stuff is done. So all I'd have to do is get the cylinder off, port it, and move it over to here. I don't think I want to start with this one This one I think has a different PTO side bearing setup. If you look close, it's a little thinner around the clutch. And I think they have a different type of PTO side bearing that's not as durable as what's in this. And that's why I'm thinking about sticking with this bottom end and moving the cylinder from this to this. Turning this into a 54cc, converting to 325, and then running it in the 50cc class. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think this saw would do better if I did that, especially on 325 chain and all that stuff. I feel like I should be able to get a pretty decent amount more RPM by doing that, and then yeah, I'd lose some torque, so drop it down to the 50cc class. I think that's what I should do. You know what I mean? I think that's a good plan for next year. But I would lose my 60cc class saw. So I kind of had an idea here. What about taking a 360? On my 360, these are piston ported. I'm thinking about taking one of those and getting it built for the 60cc class. I think that'd be fun to watch, you know, the Home Life 360. I've never been into the bottom end of the 360, so I couldn't tell you what they look like, or if they're durable or anything like that, but I couldn't even tell you if I could adjust the squish without pre-porting it. I don't know. But we could easily tear into it and do it. This saw's actually had a bunch of work done to it and ran, just the carburetor was shot, and I just never got around to putting another carb on it. So if I went and bought a new 372 carb on it or something and dropped on it or whatever, it should be a running saw. So that's why I'm thinking about doing that with this one. I think we can do good things with this. Now for the 70cc class, I just picked up this P70 from Briscoe. He got it and kind of passed it along to me. And I'm thinking, you know, why not build this P70 into our 70cc class saw? As you can see, we're sticking with vintage. Why not? Why not stick with vintage, you know? That's our thing, right? So the old P70 turned into a race saw for Sawfest next season. I think that'd be quite fun. All the parts appear to be here to get this thing going. I think it just needs some carb work or whatever. It has compression and all that stuff. So, you know, I think we could turn something out of this. Then we go up to the 80cc class. You know, why not the 550? These things are really slow from the factory for an 80cc saw. So we'd have to figure out what's going on and why they're so slow. But if we can get this thing turned up, maybe we can get this thing competing, you know, in the 80cc class. What do you think? Now, the 550, the P70, and the 360 are all piston ported. So, you know, larger saws would be piston ported and the small ones would still be reed. I think I already got my lineup for next year, you know? The problem I'm gonna have is the 90cc class. I don't have a 90cc saw. So what I'd probably do is I'd just run the 550 in the 90cc class just because you earn points by running it. So that would enable me to earn the points for that class, even though I'm not running a 90cc. You can move up a class, but you can't go backwards. So you can run an 80cc in a 90cc class, but you can't take the 90cc and bump it down to an 80cc class, you know? This one here, I am changing it to a 54cc saw, so it would be kind of like a hybrid of these. So it would work, but I couldn't run like a 90cc saw in the 80cc class. That's not permitted. I could do up to 1050, but still, that's even bigger than the 90cc class. So I don't know what we're gonna do there. I know we're gonna do some building on it, but I don't think we'll ever be able to race it because it's kind of in that class that you can't really run. Maybe the 90cc class is a 90 and up. That might actually be possible. So if it is a 90cc and up, then we'd run the Home Light. I'll have to look into that. So if it is actually a 90cc class and up, then we will go ahead and move the 1050 in to our race lineup and get that thing ported up. Now, another thing I want to add here is, see this nice bar laying here? A gentleman walked up to me, said he watches the channel, and handed it to me. And I was kind of surprised. I bet I looked like a deer in headlights, you know? He said he just had it hanging on his wall, and he wanted to give it to me because he knows I'm into the home light stuff. And I mean, this is spectacular. I wish I could remember his name. But he just kind of walked up and gave me the bar. That's a really good bar. That thing is in really good shape. It's actually in such a good shape that'll probably end up turning into one of our race bars for, you know, probably even the 80cc saw. We'll probably run that on the 550 for the racing. It is in that good a shape, you know what I mean? We might as well do it. I did have an issue with the old 925 over there. The fuel line grommet that's behind the clutch. If you guys were familiar with that saw, you know what I'm talking about. That grommet came out and it started spewing fuel all over my bar and chain. And I was on the starting line. So I basically shut the saw down and bowed out of that race on my own. I didn't try to get back into it. I mean, we were right on the starting line, seconds from the start. So I just dropped it and basically disqualified myself from the 80cc class. When I took these saws with me, the old Zip got a run. She was raced, which was quite entertaining, I'll tell you. Got to run the Mac a little bit. I got more coming up on that. I can tell you we're going to be doing some more work to that. You got 2 cutting videos coming, but you know, we are going to be doing some more work to that. Something's holding that saw back and we got to figure out what it is. We'll get into that more in the future. But yeah, if you guys remember this one, that came from Muffler Delete. He just showed up and handed it to me. He said, here man, this is yours from now on. So yeah, he just gave us a C52. Just kind of flopped it on our lap. It runs. He's had it running on his channel and everything. So now we got a running C52 to the collection. I have a C51. I didn't have a C52. So now we got one of those. The XL400 didn't get ran at all. The lumbar didn't get ran at all. Well, half of these saws didn't get ran at all. I was thinking about turning the 340 into our 50cc class saw. But I like the idea of this more. So we're going to go with that instead. Well, that's kind of all I got for you today. So I thought maybe, you know, we could get a little team together for racing the vintage home lights or vintage saws in general, but you know, a little more emphasis on the home light, right? But I thought there might be 1 or 2 people out there with the same kind of interest that might like to, you know, pitch in, lend a hand. So, hey, we'll catch you on the next one. Later.